Here's a common problem. You sit down, make a track, finish it, it sounds pretty good, but then you compare it to your favorite artist and it doesn't stack up. In fact, it sounds digital and flat and kind of dead. Why is that? Well, if you've been following our videos from the past few weeks, you might have noticed how much of an impact concepts like saturation, EQ, compression, reverb, and layering can have on the end result of your music. Well, what if I also told you that the order in which you apply your plugins, or your processing chain for short, also directly affects your end result? Think about it. We now know saturation adds harmonic frequencies both above and below a specific sound, right? So if that's the case, why would I ever want to add saturation after I applied reductive EQ? You'd want to saturate your sounds before you apply EQ, otherwise you're adding back frequencies that you just tried to cut away. This is also why we want to compress before we apply additive EQ. If you add coloration by adding frequencies to sounds, why would you want to compress and tame those additions back down? This is why we saturate first, then apply subtractive EQ, then apply compression, then apply additive EQ, and finally add effects like reverb and delay. So moving on, let's see this chain in action. First, we'll start with a dry guitar riff and saturate it to bring out a nice warm body and fuller tone. Next, we'll low cut the sound to remove any bottom end rumble and build up from the recording. We'll also tame the highs a bit to decrease harshness. This is sounding pretty good, but we can even out the sound more by applying subtle glue compression with a fairly quick attack of 0.3 milliseconds and a release of 0.6 seconds, shooting for about 6 dB of gain reduction. Running this compression slightly in parallel can help flatten the sound while also retaining some of its dynamics. To put a final polish on the sound, we can add a subtle boost around 10K and a punch at 100 Hz. Adding subtle broad Q boosts with analog emulated EQs works really well for this, even if you're boosting outside the typical range of the instrument. And with some subtle reverb to taste, our guitar sound has now come to life. Let's take a final listen to where the sound started and ended up. The difference is huge, right? Hopefully this shows you what is possible with proper application of a processing chain and gets you just a bit closer to sounding as full, lush, and professional as your favorite artists. Make sure to check out all our free workshops, resources, learning guides, and sample packs. And of course, scope out all our free videos as well.